I'm Karina Stewart, and I'm the creator of the Activate Your Wealth Code show. I cannot wait for you to dive right into this episode. I created this show so that you could unlock and activate your wealth codes, so that you'll remember that greatness that lives inside of you and step right into your divine destiny. I know that once you do, nothing will stop you from making a massive difference on the planet. All right.
Hello and welcome back to Karina Stewart's Activate Your Wealth Code, where you get to unlock your infinite wealth, realign with your divine destiny, and create massive change in the world. I'm your host, Megan Torres, here today with Lisa Barnett. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Megan.
My pleasure. We're so happy to have you here. You bring joy and ease into the people's lives that you work with through the guidance of Akashic Records. Can you tell us a little bit about the Akashic Records?
Absolutely. So each of us have a record, and that has been recorded from the time your soul individuated from source, billions or trillions of years ago, until this very moment. So everything you have ever been or done, every place, whether it's Earth or a different planet, a different dimension, it is all recorded for you, creating an Akashic library, which is very cool because you can actually go back and tap into and understand who you've been, the gifts you've had in other lifetimes, the talents you want to bring here now, and you have your own personal librarians that are there to help and assist you to understand this, to connect into this library of your soul.
I love that. And can you tell us, what do these Akashic Records have to do with who we are in this lifetime?
So when you decide to individuate into a physical body now, or come into, this life now, you write a soul plan. And part of what you're doing is really tapping into all of your infinite wisdom, which is stored in your Akashic Record. So what karma do I still have from other lifetimes? What lessons have I not learned that would be really helpful for me to learn this lifetime? What people from other lives would I like to play with this time? Who can help me? Who can support me? Who wants to be my significant other or my children? So we plan all of this out before we take a body. And so this soul plan is there, and again, it's also stored and in your Akashic Record.
And so do we have free will? This sounds very destined.
Well, we absolutely have free will, and what I say is that we make a plan, but that doesn't mean we follow it, right? It's like you can write a business plan and it can go totally awry, right? So most of us, we have these big grandiose plans because we're really big, ancient, wise, divine souls. And we do come here because we love the free will part, but we also want to learn and grow as a soul. So that's why we write in, what lessons do I want to learn? What karma do I want to complete? So the way we see karma in the Akashic Records is really about that soul growth. How can I grow? What can I understand? How can I really elevate my consciousness as a human in a body? And so that's really what turns out to be kind of that karmic cycle where you're working through challenges, learning, understanding, moving to a place of compassion and forgiveness. And that is part of the soul growth. So sometimes we decide we're not going there. I'm not going to learn this lesson. I'm going to be angry, or I feel like a victim. I don't get how I can be forgiving. And so all of that really is about choice.
What does karma look like for us? I mean, I think we have kind of a negative connotation about karma and what that means. People say karma's a bitch or watch out, karma's coming for you. So these Akashic records, really, what does that mean for us on an individual level?
Well, it often does kind of show up in a challenging sort of way. Um, so there's a bunch of different examples. I'm like, okay, which one should we use? So sometimes we have that kind of what we call instantaneous karma, which might be that we do something that we know is really out of integrity, or maybe we realize it in hindsight. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that, said that, treated that person that way. And then all of a sudden we find that people are showing up in our lives who are not treating us very well. So you could call that kind of instant karma. It's about learning that lesson. It's about going, oh my gosh, I don't want to be treated like that. I'm not going to treat people that way. And so that would be learning your lesson. So it's not about you've been bad, you're punished forever. It's really about helping you to get conscious and understand something, so that you can grow and change and be, a different person, a higher, better, higher vibrational person. And so karma also goes from lifetime to lifetime. And this is the part that often blocks us because, how do you know that? You're totally unaware of what you were 5 lifetimes ago or last lifetime. So how do I know that karma is blocking me? And this is where the Akashic Records can come in really, really handy. So imagine that in a past life, you had a business partner. Say it's the 1800s, you have a little hat shop in London. and everything's going along pretty well, but you really don't like your partner and you feel like they're lazy and they're not doing much and they're not helping out. And so one day you pack up all the hats and you leave town. You say, I'm going to go open my own shop. I don't need this person. They're not even helpful and they're getting half the income. So you skip town with the product and you've created some karma for yourself. And then you might find out that in that life, it's possible that that business might fail. That could be kind of the learning consequence. Oh gosh, that was really out of integrity. And you might get aware and, go back to your ex-partner and make amends and give them some money back, et cetera, right? So now you've completed that karma. But say the business goes on and everything seems fine. And in your next life, you end up with a business partner who runs off with all the product and leaves town, or maybe runs off with your wife, because you're probably a man back then if you have a shop. Right? So, so it shows up in these different ways. And a lot of it is about forgiveness and awareness and consciousness, right? And saying, how do I treat people? How do I work in the world? How am I showing up? So I've had clients who have had situations like that where they might have had a business partner who took, some of their money, and they'll say, what the heck? Well, it turns out, that in another lifetime they had done something like that, because we do it all. If you've been killed, you have killed. If you've had someone steal from you, you have stolen from others. We come here and we live hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes just on Earth alone. And it's really about the learning and the growth. And we're a little slow on the uptake. So for most of us, it might take us 10, 20 lifetimes to complete that karma. We don't usually finish it so instantaneously, or we didn't in the past. Mm-hmm. As the vibration of the planet is raising now, it's helping us to get conscious faster, easier. So a little more instantaneous completion of karma right now.
And so how can the Akashic Records help us with attracting abundance and tapping into our wealth?
Great question. So there's lots of layers that have to do with abundance and money, and because of course there's abundance of love and of all kinds, health and wealth. And so We can do different sorts of things. One of the things that I love to do is to clear past life vows of poverty. Right? So we want to let go of everything that is blocking us from stepping into our wealth abundance. So most of us that I find, that are connecting into you and I are on a spiritual path, which means we've really been on a spiritual path for a lot of our lifetimes. And consequently, most of us have been some sort of monk or priest or nun or ascetic, and we have taken a vow of poverty. Often chastity and obedience go along with it, which we always like to get rid of also, right? Who needs them? So starting there, clearing vows of poverty, saying, I will not take money for my gifts. And then we want to get conscious really about that I am open to receive abundance as I share my gifts in the world. And so really what I do when I do an Akashic record reading, I would look at all these different sorts of levels and layers of information. We'd clear the past life vows. We would work through any other kinds of vows. Sometimes we've been very wealthy, but we were not well liked or very nice to people when we had the money. And so just imagine that you were a king, back in the Middle Ages, and you had, I think they called them serfs, right? They were kind of like slaves that you taxed them ridiculously, and they basically had to work for you to survive, right? So you may have been that kind of king where you weren't very generous, where you overtaxed your people. And so you died alone, and you said, I never want to be rich again because this is terrible. I'm lonely, money is bad, my life has been miserable. So I'm going to take a vow. I'm going to vow never to be rich again. So of course we want to clear those sorts of vows also. So always interesting.
Are we still making vows today in this lifetime? Because that seems like something you might say to yourself in the heat of the moment, and then it's like carried out into eternity.
Right. Yep. It's a great question, and it's a little bit of a joke in my house because my husband will sometimes say, I'll love you forever, and I say, please don't. I love you till the end of our days here, this time.
Don't stick to you.
Right. I don't need that vow forever. Come on, ever's a really long time, isn't it? So we really can kind of make those vows. So again, part of this is about getting really conscious. So if I say, I'm never gonna, make enough money, well, we're actually kind of making a vow, even though we may be angry and saying, I just can never do this well enough that I'm going to make good money. The universe, of course, is taking that like you're wanting to never make money, right? So, we can clear a lot of these things energetically. I'm a big fan of rip, tear, burn, please, immediately, again, being conscious, like let that go, releasing the energy, burning that contract or that idea that I just spoke, right?
Physically, could we write this down and then set it on fire?
You could, and for these kinds of things that you find you've done a lot of times, like maybe you've been saying, I'll never make money, again and again and again over the last few years. I would write that out. I would do a little ceremony. You could burn it. Again, you come to people like myself, people who access, that kind of energy to clear that vibration throughout time and space for you. So that's one of these kind of gifts. And one of the reasons that I also teach people to access their own Akashic records so they can have these tools to use for themselves every day. So the other possibility is to reclaim those great abundant lives, right? So we want to clear all the garbage and then reclaim all of those times where you were on your soul path, you were giving your gifts with love and receiving great abundance in return of all kinds. And so we want to reclaim that also from the Akashic Records. So you can clear and heal everything before this moment. So including past lives, including childhood, including vows and pain and trauma, and then reclaim those gifts and talents that we want to share with the world. And those can include those abundant lifetimes where we were really, spot on, really doing what we came to do and being abundant because of it.
So do the Akashic Records hold our life's mission? And is our life mission the same every lifetime?
Yes, so we write, that mission or purpose, as we often call it, we do write in our soul plan. It's part of the plan. And it's a kind of an interesting concept. So, of course, again, most of us have lived probably 500, 600, 700 lifetimes here on Earth already. So you have a lot of gifts and talents that you want to share. And the way I like to explain it is that your soul's purpose or mission tends to look a little bit more like a pearl necklace. It's not a job description. It's not, I'm coming here to, to work in human resources department, right? I'm not coming to do one thing. We would be really bored. So we have many, most of us have 3 to 6 kind of missions or soul purposes. And they can be everything from being a parent, to sharing love, to holding the light, to being a teacher. I mean, being a communicator. They include things like their bigger picture, more archetypal ideas, such as some of us really come to be of service. That might be our main purpose. And we may do that by being a doctor or a nurse or, by being a waitress or even, say a hairdresser. It could include all sorts of different jobs where you're being of service and sharing your gifts, right? So being the philosopher or the sage, again, could be about writing a book, writing a spiritual book, writing a self-help book. It could be about teaching. It could be about doing a telesummit or a radio show, helping other people to share their mission. So they're a little bit less specific. Mm-hmm. Then I think than many of us hope they are. You're right. Yeah. And so if you imagine that you had a lifetime in which you were a healer, and you had, say, this is the pearl necklace part. You've got 6 or 8 big pearls where you were really, really, again, spot on, really on task as a healer. You were doing your work. You were sharing your gifts. Everything was flowing really with grace. And that is, one of those lives where you would say, ooh, that created a beautiful kind of string of pearls, a soul lineage. So all these lives strung together kind of create your own soul lineage. This is who I am as a healer through many different lifetimes. And so say in this life, you say, I want to share my gifts as a healer again. You would take that pearl necklace with you when you came to Earth. And you also may take one of those necklaces in which you were a communicator, because I want to be able to communicate information about healing. I want to write a book about healing. Or, in my personal case, I'm a communicator. Of course, I do a lot of speaking, and I've written 2 books. And so that's how I share the wisdom of the Akashic Records, right? So not only do I do healing through the Akashic Records as a teacher and a consultant and a healer, but I also share about that in a much bigger way. so often, these gifts and talents come together and merge, really in profound ways.
I love that. Karina talks a bit about our mission and money being service. A lot of times it seems like your mission is being of service. Mm-hmm. What do you think about money is service? Money is love. Money is God. What comes up for you with that?
Yeah, I get really in that way. I like that money is love. Money is a powerful energy, and abundance really is, part of source. It is God, it is source, it is, the universal, and in our world it's the exchange, right? It's the universal exchange. And so when we can give love, when we can give, of course we all love to receive love, and the energy, the kindness, the caringness, and in this world it also takes that money, the monetary part, to be able to put food on the table and a roof over your head and clothes on your back. So being able to look at money as an energy, as an energy of exchange, that we always want to offer a fair exchange. So whether we're cooking dinner for someone because they've done something lovely, or many people trade services still. I think there's a lot of healers out there who trade services for my healing for your healing, or my healing for your art, or however that works out. But of course the easy answer in our world is with money.
Yeah. So one of our audience questions that comes up often is, what if I feel like I'm in the wrong place, surrounded by the wrong people, even born into the wrong family? Why does that happen?
Yeah, well, interesting, and it does very often. So that kind of comes back to the whole idea of soul contracts. So you may, part of your soul plan, you're going to write soul contracts. I'm going to write a contract to support this person, to be in this family, either for love and support, or sometimes it's for karmic reasons. So I've seen lots of people in the world pick a family that's really challenging, and it's about completion. So there's some big soul contracts to end abuse in the world. There's also a big group soul contract to help rebalance male-female energy on the planet. Mm-hmm. And so we will sometimes pick a family that offers that chance, that challenge, that allows us the opportunity to understand that, to help to heal that within a family. So if you were born into, say, an abusive sort of family, if you can come to a place of understanding maybe that soul has its own challenges and is nonetheless a divine soul just like you are, if you can move into a place of compassion and love and forgiveness, you are helping to heal that abusive paradigm. And of course, when we do that, we're also ending that line of abuse. Because often abuse is passed down from, parent to child and on and on. Mm-hmm. And so we're stepping in and saying, the buck stops here. I'm not going to allow this abuse to continue on to my children. Right? I mean, how many times have you heard people say, oh, my father was abusive and he was abused as a child? And you think, how, kind of an unusual concept. If you were abused, wouldn't you want to be the nicest person you could be? Mm-hmm. Right? But it doesn't work that way, or has not worked that way in the past. And so many of the light workers, so many of these beautiful souls are showing up, stepping into these challenging families that have, abuse, whether it's, really physical or mental, emotional. There's, and ending kind of patterns of alcoholism and just, all sorts of different old patterns. So a lot of people are stepping into those kind of families to heal the family and stop that pattern.
And so does that kind of clear that particular, I don't know, would that be a contract or karma? Does that clear it for the rest, for like the rest of that lineage, or at least your experience in future lifetimes?
Yes. So if it's a karma, if it's part of your karma because you've been abusive in a past life and you want to end that and end it by stepping into it now. So there's thousands of people in the world who are doing that right now. And so that is completing that karma, and it's helping to clear the pattern for humanity. So it's, really kind of like a double wow, where it's not only are you finishing your own karma, that ripples out. And of course, because the buck is stopping here, that's not continuing on. So our children are not going to experience that. And that collective ripple is getting really huge in the world. So yes, it's fabulous. It really makes huge shifts, not only, of course, in your life when you can move into a place of compassion and forgiveness, but for our children, for the rest of humanity now.
Yeah. Beautiful. What 3 tips would you give the audience today in order to start activating their wealth, their abundance?
Oh, let's see. So my tip number 1 is to come into a place where you can really know and embody the fact that you are a sovereign soul having a human experience. Mm-hmm. And so this is about owning your power and owning your space. So it becomes very important for us to move other people out of our energy field. Many of you I know are empathic and take on other people's energy. So learning tools to clear other people out of our space and to create a very nice, solid kind of energy body. And really stand in your own power as a sovereign, beautiful, ancient, wise soul. And so when we can do that, then what you're doing is you're calling to you all the good that the universe has to offer you. So stepping forward to say, I claim, I am willing to receive my abundance. And one of the tools I like to teach is to really ask, how big is my abundance vessel? If I imagined that everything I was able to receive was either, the size of a little bowl or as big as the room I'm in or infinite, right? So when we ask our higher selves, when we ask within ourselves and you say, just give me a picture, show me what my havingness bowl looks like. How big is the vessel I am holding my good in? And just let that come to you, whether it comes to you as a feeling or a picture, but just realize that so many of us have, again, lived these lives as monks and nuns. Maybe we had a little beggar bowl and all we needed was a couple of handfuls of rice to survive. Well, some of us still have, a havingness, receivingness vessel that's as big as a little beggar bowl, just like your little hands together. And we want to release that and create a very infinite vessel to hold all the good of the universe, whether it be health or wealth or, all of the love, so that we are really open to receive. So just coming into that place, I am open to receive all the good the universe has to offer. It's a good little morning mantra, daily kind of thing to think. And then again, just being really conscious of what you're sending out. When we're sending out gratitude, love, and joy, we're receiving gratitude, love, and joy. When we're offering money to people, when we're writing checks, all of those kinds of things, when we do it with ease and grace and joy, without worry and fear, that's what we're sending into the universe, and that's what we're receiving back. And so, of course, all of those are just great things to be conscious of daily. And of course, I would say, learn to access the wisdom of your Akashic records so you can be guided by your record keepers every day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those tips. That is about our time. Do you have a free gift?
I do. And so it is a guided visualization, and it is to help you create more abundance in your life. I call it the soul symbol meditation, where we're really expanding the truth, the symbol, the vibration of us out into the world so that all of our abundance can find us, connect to us, and come home. And so you'll find that is a lovely, I like to do them kind of 10-minute guided visualizations to just help you create more abundance in your life.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. My pleasure, Megan. Thank you.
Wasn't that absolutely incredible? I just love how every single episode has these golden nuggets of wisdom that begin to awaken the light in your heart and unlock your infinite wealth. So if you want to own this episode and go deeper into activating your wealth, I invite you to get my VIP access package. I've designed it so that you can not only own the entire season of the Activate Your Wealth Code show, but you can begin to activate your wealth codes through my 7-day wealth transformation teleclass, as well as a secret wealth code training that I've put together for you. And you're going to get a session with my Soul Wealth team to begin to design your personal steps to activating your wealth. To get this package, just click the link right on this page that says Get Access Now, and you will get all of it. You'll own the season, and you will get all the bonuses, well worth over $3,600 in value for nearly the fraction of the cost. All right, everyone, I'll see you on the next episode.